and good evening, everyone. Welcome to The Cage here at Landrum High School, the site of today's basketball matchups between the Landrum Cardinals and the Brashier Middle College Bengals. I'm your host tonight, Luke Ruff, joining you from Landrum, South Carolina. This one should be a lot of fun on a Tuesday evening. Again, especially now that college football is over, we are in full basketball mode just about now, and I could really not be more excited for it. This one, from what I've seen, two pretty evenly matched teams coming into this evening's games, both on the girls and boys sides of the rosters. Just about 3 minutes away from tipping this one off. I'd like to take a moment to remind you that Landrum High School or Brashier Middle College do not own the rights to any of the music heard during this broadcast. That is being pumped in through the stadium speakers by Landrum High School staff. That is just a purely selective choice on their end. No copyright infringement intended. It's all for the kids. And it looks like the Lady Cardinals are already heading over toward the bench. I imagine the Lady Bengals, yep, there's the buzzer. They're headed back as well. Both teams probably just about ready for tip-off. 1:45 on the clock in here. .06 p.m. flat. We'll see if we get a presentation of the colors, introductions, and yep, there's the color guard over on the right-hand side. They're not in frame yet. They will be in a moment. So we'll be going through all the pre-game festivities here instead of before the boys' game. The Landrum High School JROTC ready to get us started this evening.
Good afternoon and good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'd like to welcome you to tonight's basketball game between Brashier Middle College and Landrum High School. Important announcement to pay attention to, please. In cooperation with the South Carolina High School League, DHEC and CDC, all spectators are required to wear a face covering and social distance during our games this evening. We also ask that you please sit on an L sticker. These stickers are placed throughout the gym in pods of 2, 3, or 4. Thank you in advance for your help and for helping these young ladies and gentlemen be able to play the game they enjoy, ball basketball. At this time, please stand for our national anthem. The flag is being presented this evening by the Landrum Junior ROTC. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Social distancing and wearing masks and sitting on an L. Thank you.
All right, so 8 minutes on the clock. Savannah Brown set to tip this one off for Landrum against, looks like it's going to be Caroline Roller for the Bengals. Savannah Brown, for those of you who have stuck with us since the beginning of the season, started the year out on the JV team, has worked her way all the way up to starting for the varsity roster, the tallest player on that Landrum roster, perhaps between both teams, and Brown is able to win the tip-off there. Flips it over to Kara Knight. Now Knight gets it to Ellinger. Pass is tipped, but lands in the hands of Hines. Now just trying to find some kind of opening, really feeling out this BMC defense. And Hines gone to a standstill. Inside now to Brown. Brown flips it to Knight. Knight for three and almost hits it, but it's rebounded by Beret Upton. Upton can't hit it. Then Brown can't hit it. Still up for grabs and eventually brought back in by the Bengals, but not for long. Looks like Caroline Roller kicked out and out of bounds by mistake. It will remain BMC ball. 34 seconds come off the clock in that opening possession. Not a lot of progress made for either team. And now BMC looking to get something done. Inside, Roller flips it out to Downing. And now this looks to be number 23, Anna Reynolds going inside, can't get it done. And Roller puts it in from the paint on the rebound and gets the first point of the game in for BMC. So the Lady Bengals with an early 2-0 lead over Landrum. And now Brown sending it inside with Upton, and Upton almost tied up the game. You could hear the crowd response. They thought it'd gone in. It definitely looked like it was headed that way. Rolls out at the last possible second. This is Lily Hutchins for BMC looking around, flipping it over to Ansley Downing. Downing going inside for Roller, and Roller off the mark. Rebounded by Upton, and too much on that one. Oh! And the balancing act coming up just a bit short for Kara Knight. It would have been an impressive feat. 6:32 to play in the first. BMC with the ball and the lead. Oh, and this one taken away by Melanie Hines. And going inside, missing the layup. That was number 10, Kara Knight again. Landrum, aside from that opening trip down the court, I mean, they have really not had the ball so far. Even, I know we're only 2 minutes in, but to this point, BMC has done a really good job of controlling time of possession. And got a foul called. I think this one's going against Landrum. And indeed it is. Number 25, this is Amanda Earl, set to check in for the Bengals. BMC still up 2-0. And trying to go inside. This is Roller again off the mark and rebounded by Upton. Kara Knight making her way down the court. Outside of Savannah Brown, BMC with a major size advantage, but at least in the early going, especially with the openings on the outside, I get the impression that Landrum has the advantage speed-wise. They've been off target through the first 2.5 minutes, though. Still a goose egg on the scoreboard for the Cardinals. Their defense playing quite well, though. Still a 2-0 game. Hutchins looking around, flips it over to Downing. Back to Hutchins. Hutchins wanting to go inside. And gets it to Roller. Roller flips it over to Earl. And Earl, that one was tipped. Roller did what she could to keep it in play, but that's not going to work. And yet another turnover forced by this Cardinal defense. Molly Ellinger to check this one in to Melanie Hines. Hines certainly made a big impact in the game against Blacksburg. Really possessed the ball for a lot of that one. Has had a quiet start to this one. And turnover. Looked like we had a turnover there for a moment. And now we've got a foul called against Landrum. That's their second foul of the game. 4:58 to play in the first period, and we got a timeout called by the Lady Cardinals, it appears. So both teams headed over to the bench. They look to be, I know Landrum's coach at least has the whiteboard in his hand, and now they're going to break the huddle. So no scheming quite yet. Just over 3 minutes into this one. Been a defensive standoff to this point. Both teams having difficulty shooting, particularly from outside the three-point line. And Downing checks this, or that's Earl checking that one into roller. Earl has it again, now flinging it down the court for Hutchins. Somehow stayed in bounds, did Hutchins, and Hutchins drives inside, tried to get it to number 15, that's Grace Ferreira. And now Hutchins going for three. This one's off the mark and rebounded by Amanda Earl. Earl can't sink it, and Savannah Brown able to notch her first rebound of the game for the Lady Cardinals. Time moving by pretty quickly so far. Not a lot of stoppages to this point. Hines flips it to Ellinger. Ellinger going to get it back to Hines for three. Hines off the mark. Comes up short and rebounded by Earl. Hutchins taking her time, now flips it over to Earl. Back to Hutchins. I think they were trying to work Downing across the formation and couldn't quite get her open. Now they're just going to go inside to Roller. She's been their most consistent offensive weapon, and she does it again. 4-0 lead for the Bengals. And Karen Knight had that one tipped, and it's taken away by BMC. Downing sends it inside to Roller, and Roller gets fouled. She'll be headed to the line. This one is good. BMC up by 5, looking to stretch the lead to 6. And this one is good as well. So still a 2-possession game, but Landrum has struggled from the three-point line so far. We'll see if they can find a rhythm moving forward. And Savannah Brown flips it over to Ellinger for the long 2, and Ellinger had some defensive pressure coming in there late. Could not connect on that one. Lily Hutchins making her way down the court, now driving inside, does it herself and got it. 3-possession lead now for the Bengals. Brown flips it over to Upton. Upton going inside, no foul called, had that one tipped, but it'll stay with Landrum. And Upton, no, that's Knight, excuse me, almost had a three-point window, but it closes quickly, and not sure if that was a pass or a shot, but it does get to Savannah Brown, who gets it to Ellinger. Ellinger just flings it up there and gets fouled. So Molly Ellinger going to have a chance to notch Landrum's first points of the game. They've gone 5 minutes without scoring. They could certainly use a break here. For the first points of the game for Landrum, this one on target. Shot number 2 can get it to a 2-possession game. Ellinger good on this one as well. And Roller sending it down the court. Oh, off the fingertips, but brought back in by BMC, and a nice shot there from Downing. Right back to an 8-point game. They're going to try and set Upton up again. Now they get it to, that's Ellinger, and Ellinger cannot connect. And this one's going to stay with Landrum, but even after that one went out of bounds, BMC really winning the rebound game so far. Savannah Brown has been a non-factor for the most part, which is interesting to see, because especially inside the paint with those rebounds, that is where she's been the most effective. BMC has done a good job of shutting her down so far. And this as well, they've really slowed the pace of the game down too, and I think that's putting some pressure on this Landrum offense, and so far it seems to be working. Yep, you can see 5-man substitution ready for the Lady Cardinals. This shot no good, brought back in by Landrum. Knight going to sling it over for Hines. Hines for the long 2. This one off the rim, rebounded by Brown. Brown sends it up, can't connect. And brought back in by the Bengals. Under 2 to play in the first period now. Looks like the Landrum starters ready to come out of the game as soon as we get a stoppage. And here come the reserves. McKenna Harris, number 12, Anna Cooper, alongside Carter Newton, Kaylee Cortez, and Peyton Hawkins, all in for the Lady Cardinals. And this is Hawkins looking around, flips it back to Cortez. And now going inside is Anna Cooper. This one off the mark and rebounded by BMC. Lily Hutchins has had a busy night for the Bengals. This is Caroline Roller going inside, and she's got it. And Cortez has that one tipped, but it's brought back in by Carter Newton. Had it for a moment before getting called for carrying. Ball will go right back to BMC. 1:16 to play in the first. The Landrum defense has been sound to this point. Not terrible, but it's been their offense that has struggled. And another missed shot from BMC. This one brought in by McKenna Harris. We'll see if they can get anything going on the offensive side of the ball. From inside the paint, Anna Cooper off and rebounded by Caroline Roller. Roller sending it down the court to Earl, and Earl sinks it. 43 seconds to play in the first period. BMC up by 12. And now that was Hawkins off the mark for the long 2, and BMC almost sends this one out of bounds. Good job by Earl to stay in there. Up for grabs and brought in by Lily Hutchinson. Now Earl going for 3. This one off and rebounded by Cortez. 20 seconds to go. Kaylee Cortez driving and takes a step back and gets it stolen away for a moment. Still in play. Which way they're going to rule this? They're going to keep it with Landrum. 12.3 seconds to play in the first. I figured they were going to do that. Timeout taken. I thought they might let the clock wind down, but they got a stoppage. They're going to go ahead and take the timeout and try and get their feet back under them, especially offensively. This one really starting to get out of hand early. Again, the offensive opportunities have been there. The accuracy has just been off, and that is an issue they have been able to patch up during games in the past. So we'll see what all they're able to draw up here. The separation offensively has not been anywhere near as bad as it was against Blacksburg a couple of days ago. That was a huge problem for them. They had, the Lady Wildcats were just breathing down their necks the entire game. So Landrum has had the separation they've needed, just not necessarily the concentration they need to set up for those long shots. So we'll see if they draw anything up here. 12 seconds to play. They're going to flip it out to Cortez. Cortez wanted to get it to Harris. Clock continues to run. Cortez going to have to get rid of this thing. Now Harris over, this is Hawkins, and Harris for the long 2 just flings it up there. And the clock just kind of ran out there. So at the end of the first period, things not going quite according to plan for the Lady Cardinals, down 14-2. We'll see what they're able to draw up during the break. All right, and we are ready for the start of the second period. Actually started a little before I was ready. And Mulaney Hines with the steal, making a beeline for the basket and got it. Whoa, and Lily Hutchins fell over on that one. We'll see if they keep this with the Cardinals, or with the Bengals. Looks like they will. And looks like they're calling, I think that's Varsity Upton getting called for a foul there. That would explain how Hutchins fell. And driving to the goal, BMC off the mark, but rebounded by Landrum. Carter Newton flips it out to Mulaney Hines. Hines on the move. Now McKenna Harris gets it over to Kara Knight back in the game for the Lady Cardinals, going inside, now back outside with Harris. Harris for the long two, off the mark. Rebounded by BMC. This is Amanda Earl flipping it over to Lily Hutchins. And this one is good. Amanda Earl able to respond to those points from Mulaney Hines off the turnover, and this one up for grabs. Headed out of bounds, but saved by Carter Newton. And now Newton trying to set a block, can't quite get it done. And we got a foul call, or a jump ball called, and this one will stay with Landrum. 6:44 to play in the first half. McKenna Harris to check this one in, gets it to Hines. Hines looking for three. This one comes up short, up for grabs, and brought in by Knight. Knight sends it inside and off the fingertips of some of the Cardinals. And now Caroline Roller has it stolen away for a moment, hangs on to it, but not for long. And that must have been the quarter adjustment for the Lady Cardinals. Start going for those turnovers, because especially BMC has done a good job of milking that clock and limiting the number of possessions that Landrum can get. So it makes sense that they try to steal a few more, and so far they've been reasonably successful with it. Now this is Caroline Roller. I don't think she's come out for BMC so far. And it looks like, I think that was a traveling call or a double dribble. Didn't see the signal, but it's going to be Cardinal ball. 6:25 to play in the second. Clock continues to roll. Hines flips it over to Knight. Back to Hines. And actually going to call one of those shots a three-pointer for BMC. Keep an eye on that. We'll see if someone just made a little typo with the scoreboard. That has happened a handful of times before. So I didn't necessarily see anything that would constitute BMC getting an extra point. We'll check. And now Knight sends out and out of bounds. Tipped by BMC, but they're going to call it BMC ball. And Molly Ellinger re-enters the game for the Cardinals. So both seniors on the court now. It is senior night here at Landrum High School. Only two seniors on this year's basketball roster, those being Mulaney Hines and Molly Ellinger. And they send this one across half court. Hutchins. This one going to go to Landrum. Molly Ellinger to check in. Landrum down 13. Ellinger flips it to Harris. And Harris trying to get it back to Ellinger, over to Hines. Hines flipping it to Ellinger, and just some passing around trying to find a good window. Might have one with Hines, off the mark, and rebounded by Ellinger. So they're going to try and set this up again. And nope, Ellinger's going to drive inside, sends it up, and too tall off the backboard, and brought back in by Roller. Man, she is flying down the court, and I think we got a shooting foul called. Indeed we do. So Caroline Roller going to have a chance to get the Bengals up to 20. Three-point play is good. Got some kind of stoppage. Didn't see what that was, but the ball's going to go right back to BMC, it looks like. I guess the Landrum player must have stepped out of bounds. 5:18 to play in the second. Hutchins, tried to get it to, that was Ansley Downing, and Downing couldn't hang on. Now Mulaney Hines sinks it. So Landrum forcing a turnover to respond to that three-point play. Hutchins trying to get the Bengals back out to that lead, and now another three-point play opportunity coming up. .22 on the board now for BMC. And this shot for Hutchins is good. BMC up by 17. Ellinger really sent that one over to Harris. Now Harris going to drive, sends it up, off the mark, and rebounded by Carter Newton. Now Ellinger for three. This one to the inside, up for grabs, and rebounded by BMC. For what it's worth, there has at least been a pattern with Landrum's missed shots. They've mostly been short and to the right at that, so something, a small adjustment might be able to fix up. You always, if you're missing shots, you always want them to have some kind of pattern as opposed to being completely random. 4:29 to play in the second period. Landrum making a few substitutions. Savannah Brown back in the game alongside, looks like Kara Knight. No, that's Beret Upton. Missed shot, but rebounded by BMC. Now that was Grace Ferrer, or check that. Amanda Earl for three, couldn't bring it in. Rebounded by Savannah Brown, and Brown, too much heat on that one for Upton, gonna go right back to BMC. You can kind of feel the pressure starting to mount for Landrum. Only 6 points so far, 4 of them come off turnovers, and no successful field goals. And losing her footing is Ansley Downing. Looks like they're going to keep this one with the Bengals. Carter Newton exits the game. That's going to be Landrum's 7th foul. Or Newton, now she's exiting, and she'll be replaced by Ellen Ann Williams, number 25 for the Cardinals, or Williams headed back, but Landrum really can't get the substitution situation straight, and now Williams headed in. Not sure what the delay was. It looks like we've got some foul. Yep. Oh, that must have been it, because that was Landrum's 7th foul. So Downing headed to the line. Bonus shot, no good. Brought in by Savannah Brown. And Brown sends it over, up for grabs, and brought in by Hines. Hines flipped it to Ellinger. Ellinger looking, gets it back to Hines. And now Williams sinks it from inside the paint. Ellen Ann Williams making an impact early. Now Caroline Roller looking to get a response score in, has a clean lane, got it. 3.5 minutes to play in the first half. Sending it inside and off the fingertips. Too much heat on that one for Ellen Ann Williams. And flipping this one around, still going. Trying to find some kind of window. Hines comes up empty on that attempt for the steal. And knocked loose again. This one up for grabs. Who's got it? I can't see. And BMC comes out with it. Roller going to drive inside and gets fouled. Ansley Downing to check this one in. 2:58 to play in the second. Landrum still looking to crack double digits. And got a new player in. That's number 3, Rebecca Earl. No good on the bank shot. Brought back in by Landrum. Mulaney Hines heading down the court, flips it over to Upton. Now across the court, Ellinger for 3, and this one just off. A little too much on that one, breaking the pattern of most of Landrum's shots, coming up short, and Caroline Roller coast to coast again. Landrum has got to find a way to slow her down if they want to win this game. Upton sending it inside to Brown, and that pass off the mark. Good coverage from Rebecca Earl. Had to lead Brown a little too far to the inside. .2:20 to play in the second. And Roller from the free throw line, off balance and off target, but rebounded. No, still up for grabs. And man, they were really fighting for that one, but BMC does come down with it. Ansley Downing now for the long three, and got it. She was right on the line. We'll see if they count this as a two-pointer, and they will. Landrum down by 21 now. And tried to go inside with Williams, now flipping it over to Upton. Upton couldn't sink it, and Savannah Brown gets Landrum over double digits. And Hines comes up empty on the steal attempt again, and Ellinger batted it away for a moment, and now going to try to slow things down. Nope, never mind. Varsity Upton picks that one out of the air, and they were tussling for that one all the way down the court. Still going. Jump ball. This is going to go in favor of Landrum. Man, this Cardinal defense really not giving up. Again, I mean, 29 points and a half. We've got 69 seconds to play in the first half. I mean, 29 points given up through two periods. It's really not that bad. I mean, you can win with that kind of performance. It's just been Landrum's offense, and the opportunities have been there, just haven't been able to get the accuracy down. And this one rebounded by Williams. Williams can't do it. Brown can't do it. Up for grabs, still going, and brought in by BMC. This is Amanda Earl flipping it over to Downing. 45 seconds to play, and Earl all alone for the long three. Overshoots it, rebounded by Varsity Upton. And now Hines going to take this one down the court for Landrum. 19-point lead for the Lady Bengals. And going inside with Brown. Brown flipping it back outside, and she sent it right to number 25, Amanda Earl. And Earl off the mark, but Rebecca Earl able to put that one in. BMC cracks 30. Back out to a 21-point lead with 15 seconds to go in the first half. Hines, Ellinger now for three, off the mark, and Williams did a good job keeping it in play. We got whistles as it comes off the hand of Savannah Brown, and now Savannah Brown headed to the line. So give Landrum an opportunity to notch some much-needed points with 6.4 seconds to go in the first half. And this one off the mark. Lily Hutchins subbing in for BMC for what will probably be the last play after this shot. And this one off the mark, and I mean, you can see the rhythm just really not there for Landrum, especially Savannah Brown usually lights out from the free throw line and inside the paint, and she has had a really tough go of it so far. Clock stops at 1.1 seconds, so Hines is going to have time for a long buzzer beater and just slings this one up. Nothing doing. Pretty close, but off the mark, a little too high. So at the end of the first period, or first half, Landrum going to have some work to do. Down 21 points, 31-10 in favor of the Lady Bengals of Brashier Middle College. Got the clock set for 10 minutes now. I'm not entirely sure. The Landrum cheer squad is here for this game. I don't know if they're going to come out onto the court for a halftime performance. I won't turn the mic off quite yet. They are kind of gathering there right outside of frame. And now it looks like they're just taking pictures for now. So stay tuned in case they do come out. But until then, 10 minutes on the clock for the halftime break. All right, so we are back and ready for the start of the third period. Landrum certainly had a tough go of it to start things out, but all the issues we were talking about during halftime, all the issues they had are fixable ones. Save for Caroline Roller, she has been having a fantastic game. But save for that, I never got the impression that Landrum is physically outmatched. I do think conditioning-wise, they can go blow for blow with BMC, no problem. It's just a matter of getting settled in for the most part. I really do think, especially after they got down early, their nerves started mounting, and they really started forcing some passes inside, getting flustered, not really using the backboard to their advantage, just kind of slinging things up and hoping for the best, really trying to get the entire lead back in one play. And so long as they can come out here and play with the mentality that the score is 0-0, they should be in for a good half of basketball, but we got whistles. So far, the first possessions for both teams coming up empty. Defensively, Landrum has played reasonably well. Again, you can win a game giving up 62 points total. It's not impossible to do. But a lot of the points BMC has netted have come off of turnovers, and Mulaney Hines doing what she can to get one for Landrum there, sends it out of bounds. It will stay with the Bengals. Rebecca Earl to check this one in. Got two Earls on this BMC roster. That was Caroline Roller getting called for traveling. Starters back in the lineup for both sides. Ellinger checks it in to Knight, and now Knight flips it back to Ellinger. Ellinger looking, and Landrum got to make a point of settling down here. Can't press too much, and this one rebounded by Savannah Brown. That was a big issue they had early on, and Landrum does eventually lose their handle on it. They had, especially inside the paint, they struggled mightily coming down with those rebounds, which is an area that they have had a lot of success in so far this year. And now maybe a little too much backboard on that shot, and this one blocked and taken away by Caroline Roller. Roller coming off of a monster first half, and whistles blow. Are they going to call this a shooting foul? I believe so. And Caroline Roller will have a chance to notch the first points of the second half. This one off the mark. And now some substitutions on both ends. Savannah Brown exits the game for Landrum. She's replaced by Ellen Ann Williams. And Roller's second shot, no good as well. So still scoreless through the first 75 seconds of period number 3. Ellinger looking, gets it over now. They were trying to set up number 4. That's Mulaney Hines with the bank shot. And Mulaney Hines on senior night, able to notch the first three-pointer of the game for Landrum. And now BMC driving, sending it over to Earl, and Earl sinks out from inside the paint. Quick two-point response there from the Lady Bengals. And slinging this one up, errant throw, and taken away by Roller. And Roller has that one knocked right out of her hand. It's going to stay with BMC, but a momentum-building play there by Kara Knight. Roller just totally took her eyes off the ball, thought she had the layup no problem, and nice. Swatted it right out of her hand. And this one blocked as well, taken away by Veray Upton. So the Landrum defense up to the task so far. Now Hines for the long two, got it! Two consecutive scoring possessions might match Landrum's record for this game. They have had a tough go of it so far, especially accuracy-wise. And now a chance for a rebound, can't pull it in. Lily Hutchins taking a step back. Looking for an opening inside, now back outside. This is Downing, driving, and loses the ball, got a whistle. And this one will stay with the Lady Bengals. No shooting foul here. I think BMC thought it was one. And now Amanda Earl going to check this one in. She gets it over to Ansley Downing. Downing trying to shake Hines. Lost the ball and sends it out of bounds. Are they going to keep this with BMC? No, Landrum ball. 5:29 to play in the third period. Landrum slowly but surely starting to cut into this lead. Knight flips it back to Ellinger. Ellinger almost lost it, gets it back. Back over to Knight, and Knight, I think she wanted to go for three, instead gives Ellinger a shot, and Ellinger got it! Molly Ellinger, both seniors making an impact here on senior night. And now Hines almost swatted that one away. Referee's kind of letting them play, like that call, and a little too much heat on that pass, but it doesn't matter. Grace Ferreira still able to sink that one for the Lady Bearcats. So BMC able to respond again. Landrum going to need to keep up the momentum with the three-pointers, but this won't help. And traveling called against Caroline Roller. That will help the Lady Cardinals. 4:43 to play in the third now. Just under 13 minutes to play overall. Ellinger sending it inside. That's Anna Cooper. And now Cooper from inside the paint had that one tipped, I think. Landrum able to hang on. Kara Knight for the long two. This one's short and up for grabs. Rebounded. Molly Ellinger has it now, flipping it over to Knight. Knight again. And this one just off. Good window there from Kara Knight. Certainly more accurate than some of the passes Landrum had in the first half. A lot of those were coming up short. This one just a tad too far to the outside. And this one blocked. Will stay with BMC. But again, Landrum really playing up close and personal on defense in this half. Closing in on the halfway point of the third period. Hutchins flips it over to Downing. Back to Hutchins. Back to Downing. And now trying to get it to, that was Earl, and taken away by Molly Ellinger, and Ellinger gets fouled. Molly Ellinger and Melanie Hines both stepping up today. And now Ellinger heading to the line. She can get Landrum over 20. As it stands now, it's a 17-point lead for BMC. She can get them within 15 if she makes both of these. The officials had to wait for Anna Cooper to tie her shoe. That's what the holdup was. Ellinger from the line. First shot is good. Kaylee Cortez enters the game for Landrum. Kara Knight out. Knight and Cortez with a pretty similar skill set. Cortez a bit more apt to go for steals, but a little less pronounced in the rebound game. And got a carrying call against Amanda Earl, so right back to the Lady Cardinals. 16-point lead, again slowly but surely starting to claw their way back into this one. Are they going to have enough time to pull that off of their current pace, though? Hines gets it to Ellinger. Ellinger for three, and off the mark. Might have counted as a two-pointer anyway. This one brought back in by Upton for a moment. There's a scramble for it inside to Cortez. Now back outside to Hines. Hines puts it up and not enough power on that one. And now BMC takes it out of bounds, so Landrum's still going to hang on to it. And Hines going right for the three-pointer, just off the mark. And up for grabs, Upton had it, and there's a scramble. Landrum comes down. Ellinger driving, got a window, sends it up, and now I think that fluster factor is starting to come back in for Landrum here. They got to find a time to settle down, and that's not going to help. Doing what they can to keep it from going across half court. Hines for three. This one well off the mark, and brought back in by BMC jump ball. No traveling called. So Landrum still has it. And Peyton Hawkins entering the game for Melanie Hines. Kaylee Cortez to check this one in. She flips it over to Upton. This one tipped and headed out of bounds. Feels like it's been forever since BMC's had the ball. 2:55 to play in the third now. Cortez has it. And sends it inside. Now this is Hawkins for 3, off the mark, and finally brought back in by BMC. Can they cross half court? Hutchins had the shake, 2 defenders, could not pull it off, but got fouled in the process. That'll be Landrum's 4th foul of the half. BMC going to check this one in, but they are going to have to go backwards a little bit. And Upton was having none of that. Upton can't take that one away. Caroline Roller back in the game for BMC. Cortez doing everything she can to get the ball away from him. And now everybody making their way down the court. Hutchins driving inside. I don't know how she made that. Great shot from Lily Hutchins. Had the defender right in her face and still put it in. Cortez driving now. Taking a few steps back, sends it over to Hawkins. Hawkins wanted to go for 3, now the long 2, sinks it. Interesting, and we've got, and I think BMC took too long there. And I think we got a timeout called, and Brashier took that one. So still a 16-point lead, but Landrum garnering a little bit of momentum here. 30-second timeout. I'd like to take that time to remind you that we have still got a packed streaming schedule set up for this week. We're going to take tomorrow off, but then on Thursday we're back at Landrum High School wrestling against Chesney on senior night for the wrestling squad. Yeah, that one's coming up on Thursday at 5 p.m. instead of 6, or 5:30, excuse me, 5:30 p.m. instead of 6, like the basketball games. And then on Friday to close out the week, Chapman going to be taking on their division rivals, Clinton, in a varsity basketball matchup at CHS. Make sure you subscribe to the Landrum High School Athletics channel and the Chapman High School Athletics channel. Turn on notifications, that way you will be alerted every time we set up a stream and every time we start one up. 2:03 to play in the third period. I was saying before that timeout, but BMC has not made as much of a conscious effort to slow things down. Oh, and what a shot from Hawkins! Great setup there from Landrum. They drew that one up at the... Oh, and another turnover forced by the Lady Cardinals. Anna Cooper sending it over to Upton. Upton has that one bad, but it's going to be a foul. Will it be a shooting foul? No. Or it looks like it will. Ray Upton still waiting on a signal. No, so no shooting foul. The referees took their time deciding on that one. I think it really could have gone either way. 1:47 to play in the third. Kaylee Cortez has that shot blocked, but he'll stay with Landrum. And now Hawkins for the long 2. This one a bit to the left and brought back in by Amanda Earl. No, that's Downing, excuse me. They both look pretty similar from up here. Got a foul called, this one going against BMC, so Landrum gets the ball back again. Really a total flip of the script from that first half. BMC really controlled the time of possession through those first 2 periods, and now it's been Landrum that's held the ball for most of the third. Ellinger for 3, this one short and to the right. BMC going to get the ball back. Can they get it across half court? They've had difficulty doing that in the third. Wonder if they're getting a little complacent with that lead. And Landrum going to get it back again. Molly Ellinger to check it in for the Lady Cardinals. They just sent that one right out of bounds. And, you know, offensively, this is exactly what Landrum needed. You were kind of wondering if BMC was going to get a little complacent coming out of the locker room with a big lead like they had. I believe they were up 17 at the half. And so far it has looked like they played a little lax. And now Landrum's got that lead all the way down to 11. To the tune of a stout defensive performance with a lot of steals. Might have another one, still going, and now we got a foul. Such is the product of playing so aggressively. That's going to be Landrum's 5th. Though, again, I mean, it has been a really long time, it seems, since BMC so much has gotten this thing across half court. And now they finally pull it off. Hutchins trying to get some breathing room and gets fouled. No, called for traveling. Back to Landrum again with 45 seconds to play in the third. Landrum's able to score here. It'll go down to a 3-possession game. Upton with a funky shot off the mark and brought back in. They're going to call that a jump ball, so it'll go to BMC, even though Anna Cooper did exit the pile with it. Ansley Downing to check this one in for the Lady Bengals. She's going to flip it over to Amanda Earl. And Earl flinging it down the court over for Roller. Has had a very quiet third period, and that's going to be a blocking foul. Yeah, Roller did not have much of a shot of getting past that one. And that's going to be Landrum's 7th foul, so Roller headed to the line. 2 shots coming up for BMC. They've been outscored 16-10 in this period. Second shot for Roller on target. So now a 12-point lead. Cortez to Ellinger inside to Cooper. Cooper almost has it taken away, up for grabs and still loose. Jump ball. This one's going to Landrum. 14.3 seconds to play in the third. And Hawkins for the long two. Too high on that one. Rebounded by Hutchins. That shot is blocked. Up for grabs. Cortez tried to get it out of the air, and does so. They're going to give it to Landrum with 5 seconds left. So they're going to have time to try and set up a long 3. They're able to sink it. They'll draw within 3 possessions. And Cortez is going to have to send this one up. Oh! Had the distance just a little too far to the left. So I mentioned that about halfway through the third. Landrum has done a good job of coming back in this one. They have gone blow for blow and really even outscored BMC so far in the third period, but is that pace sustainable? If they keep it up, I think they might just end up running out of time for this comeback. Gonna have to turn on the Jets here in the fourth period. 8 minutes to decide who wins this one. Does Landrum have a comeback in him on senior night? We'll find out in a moment. BMC is going to start the half out with the ball. This is Ansley Downing. BMC are really moving faster than they did in that third period. And Landrum, that's going to be a foul. So now Landrum, yeah, that's going to be their 7th foul. So BMC headed to the bonus. That's really going to be something to keep an eye on. Landrum, I mean, as aggressively as their defense has played, fouls have really just been part of the equation, but it might start coming back to bite them now. Though BMC, to this point, has struggled from the free throw line. Substitution made, Varay Upton out, Carter Newton in. Mulaney Hines back in the game for Landrum as well. This is Lily Hutchins from the line, this one on target. 39 on the board for BMC. Got a second shot coming up. This one is good as well. Back out to a 14-point lead. Oh, and too much on that pass. Mulaney Hines maybe starting to feel the pressure of that lead. And a timeout taken by Landrum. Above all else, they got to get their nerves under control here. Come back not out of reach, but they can't get flustered if they're going to pull that off. All right, so timeout taken by Landrum just 16 seconds into the fourth period. Down by 14. BMC led by 12 just a moment ago. They were able to notch 2 foul shots from Lily Hutchins. And Landrum, keeping their hands up now, but not able to go for those turnovers as efficiently. But this one brought in by Carter Newton, and Hines going to send it down the court to Hawkins. Had a big third period, and this one tipped and brought back in by Amanda Earl of the Lady Bengals. Earl trying to shake Hawkins, sending it over to Ansley Downing, and Downing falls over. Well, they're going to keep it with BMC. Yeah, Hines was all ready to check it in. She thought it's I think they really could have called that either way, but it is going to be a BMC ball. Or no, now they're looking at, I think they're trying to say that's a foul. And indeed, Ansley Downing headed to the line. It's Landrum's 8th foul of the game, double bonus looming. And this one is good. Second shot coming up. This one off the mark. Brought back in by Hawkins. Peyton Hawkins sends it inside to Newton, and Newton wasn't quite ready for it, but gets fouled. So now Carter Newton going to have 2 shots, her first of the game. Landrum down by 15. They're going to need all the points they can get moving forward. This one off the mark, rolls out of the rim. This one rolls in. 27-41 in favor of BMC. Lead is back to 14. Still just a minute into the fourth period, and now Caroline Roller going right for the basket, off the mark, and rebounded by Molly Ellinger. Fell right into her lap. Landrum catching a nice break there. Hawkins fakes to the inside, now gets it to Newton, and Newton gets fouled again. She's 1 for 2 so far. This one called against, looks like they got Grace Ferreira there. It's BMC's 4th foul. 6:48 to play in the fourth. Newton's first shot, no good. Newton's second shot is good. Leads down to 13, but Landrum's got to stop BMC from scoring here. 6:45. Oh, what a takeaway by Peyton Hawkins. I never even saw her get the ball. That's how fast that was, but we got whistles. I think this is going back to BMC. Or no, looks like not a shooting foul, but there was a foul against the Lady Bengals. So Landrum's going to hang on to the ball. Molly Ellinger to check this one in. She's going to send it over to Mulaney Hines. Now back to Hawkins. Hawkins has the hot hand, but not this time. Shot was short and brought in by Caroline Roller. Roller sends it over to Amanda Earl. And now Earl goes inside to Downing, and Downing gets that one. So Landrum right back to square one with that 15-point deficit. 6:20 left to go. Been a while since they've tried a three-point shot. They've been content to work from the inside, and McKenna Harris showing why. Closing in on 6 minutes to play. Lily Hutchins really doing a good job of shaking those defenders. Goes inside, roller, lost it, and it falls into the hands of Peyton Hawkins. Hawkins airmailing it down and batted out of bounds. And we'll stay with Landrum. Intended for Molly Ellinger, but I think we got a timeout called by the Cardinals. Yes, 5:56 to play in the fourth. They're probably going to get, if I had to guess, a handful of plays drawn up here. The last time they did this, it worked pretty well. Peyton Hawkins had a really nice setup for a three-pointer. We'll see if they can repeat that success. This one has certainly turned into quite a game, even with the big lead for BMC. I mean, Landrum has been going blow for blow with them so far in the second half. The difference being the big lead that BMC was able to build, particularly in the first period. It took Landrum, I believe they were halfway through the second before they even cracked double digits. Just had a lot of trouble shooting accurately. The windows were there, just couldn't stay on target. And this one not on target as well, but Landrum, that's another thing they've done better with rebounds. They could not get rebounds at all in that first half. But Carter Newton able to notch one here, and now headed to the line for a chance at a three-point play. That's to bring the game within 10. Imagine that's not quite how Landrum drew it up, but they'll take whatever they can get. And the shot, bouncing, no. And it'll go to BMC. Ray Upton set that one out. And Downing kind of feeling some heat, and that's going to be Landrum ball. Yeah, Downing technically touched that one when she was out of bounds. Yeah, she caught the bat from Upton and was standing out of bounds when she did it. Molly Ellinger, and now Hines going right for the three-pointer. What a shot from Mulaney Hines! And just like that, it's an 8-point game. Oh, and Landrum wants a foul. I don't think they're going to get it there. Mulaney Hines got knocked over. The refs say it was incidental. Now Roller getting an easy layup there. That's not going to help Landrum's cause. But still, a 10-point lead is much lower than it's been for most of this game. 5:20 to play in the fourth. Still plenty of time for both sides, and no foul called. That's going back to BMC. Good job by Ferrerio to keep her hands up. Or no, they're going to keep this with Landrum, excuse me. Molly Ellinger sends it to Hines. Hines for three again. Off the mark this time and brought back in by Hutchins. Hutchins tries to get it to Roller. Roller cuts inside but loses the ball. And now loose and brought back in by Hutchins. Earl gets it over to number 5. That's Hutchins. Back to Earl inside. Ferreria off the mark and sent out of bounds. I don't know. How is that staying with BMC? Roller knocked that one out of bounds. And yeah, I think the referee just pointed in the wrong direction there. That one was definitely Landrum ball. And Carter Newton checks it in for the Lady Cardinals. Down by, they've actually dropped Landrum to 34. So down by 11. And now Newton from the inside off the mark and going back to BMC. Interesting to note that we have not seen BMC start trying to burn some clock. Oh, and did Downing take too long there? We had a whistle. And this one tipped, brought back in by Newton, and now headed, well, it's loose. And Mulaney Hines has it, tried to send it, and finally gets it to Ellinger. I don't know how she pulled that off. With a little hat trick, and now Ray Upton sends it to Hines. Hines for three, just off the mark. And jump ball, this was going to BMC. But the possession arrow will head back to Landrum. 4:13 to play. Have we got a timeout called? I think Brashier might have taken that one. Didn't see who it was. So fouls were a big concern starting up the fourth period. They've really become a non-factor. Both teams have done a good job of cleaning up their act. BMC is already in the bonus. Landrum has fouled them 8 times so far in this half, but Landrum has been fouled 6 times. They'd only been fouled twice entering the fourth period. Something to keep an eye on both ends of the spectrum, but I do appreciate the refs. I mean, they're kind of letting them play down there, and I like that call by the officials. Landrum already back out onto the court. And now Earl trying to find an opening. Gets it over to Hutchins, and Hutchins got a long way to go. No foul called and sends it off the shin of Mulaney Hines. BMC will hang on to it. Earl to try it again. Just underhands it. Ill-advised pass that Downing somehow comes down with. Landrum says she stepped out. Now she steps out, and I think they're still going to keep it with BMC. No foul called against Landrum, so Downing headed to the line. That's Landrum's 9th foul. It'll still be a 4-possession game regardless of what happens here. And Downing is on the money, and she'll get a second shot. This one is good as well. Back out to a 13-point lead for BMC halfway through the fourth. Savannah Brown getting ready to sub in for the Lady Cardinals. Newton looking, has that shot blocked and taken away by the Lady Bengals. Ansley Downing slinging it too high, and Ellinger had it for a moment but stepped out of bounds. So it'll stay with BMC. Ray Upton back in the game for Landrum. Savannah Brown back in as well. 3:47 to play. Hutchins going behind the back, now flips it outside to Downing. Downing going inside, that's tipped by Newton, but it'll stay with BMC. Oh, and this one off the arm of Ray Upton, so BMC still got it. 3:39 to play now. Had a pretty fast-moving first half. Again, BMC was really crunching some clock, but they've gotten away from that. And likewise, I mean, with all these stoppages, I really think this is closing in on one of the longest basketball games we've streamed. Certainly been worth the price of admission, though. But Landrum not able to keep up the momentum they built at the end of the third period. The shooting accuracy just not quite there like it was. This is Amanda Earl for the long three, off the mark, but rebounded by Ferrari, and then taken away by Ray Upton. Upton gets it to Mulaney Hines, going inside for Brown. Brown sends it up, got it! Back to an 11-point game with 3 minutes to go! And Molly Ellinger takes that one away, but headed out of bounds. He'll stay with Landrum. 2:52 to play. Landrum sinks a three-pointer here. We're back to an 8-point game. And Hines going for three, almost had it, but off the mark, rebounded by Lily Hutchins. There have not been a lot of jump-up rebounds for the most part. I mean, these have just fallen into the lap of BMC. They've been in the right place at the right time. Caroline Roller getting her team to 49, right back to square one. 13-point lead. 3-point shot from Ellinger is off the mark, rebounded by Upton, has that one blocked. Traveling called anyway. Savannah Brown getting her shoe tied up. Rebecca Earl enters the game in relief of, looks like Lily Hutchins headed to the BMC bench. And Caroline Roller trying to make her way down the court. Ellinger racing for it, and it was really close. Yeah, she was tight roping it down that sideline. Crowd says she stayed in. They had a better view than me. They're closer to the court than I am. Again, I really think the officials could have called that either way. Landrum catching the short end of the stick on that one. Certainly been a lot of toss-up calls in this game. They've been pretty evenly split for the most part. And now Earl for three, off the mark, and Upton brings it in, but not for long. Earl gets it right back, goes up, ball's loose, and brought back in by Rebecca Earl, gets it to Amanda Earl. I assume they're related. And now Earl was under some serious duress there, and that's going to be Landrum's 10th foul. 1:54 to play, Landrum in desperation mode now. 2 shots coming up for Amanda Earl. This one is good. Shot number 2 is good as well. Score is 51-36 in favor of BMC. 1:50 to play. Mulaney Hines slips it over to Newton. Newton sets up for 3 and it rolls in. Timeout called by Landrum. It's a 4-possession game. It's not quite out of reach yet, but they're really going to have to start playing some 4D chess in order to get enough possessions to have a shot at winning this one. 1:45 to play in the game. (51-39) with 1:45 to play. Landrum got to force some turnovers and stay out of foul trouble in the process. Not going to happen right this second. This is Rebecca Earl, and BMC sends it out of bounds. So that's step 1 of the process. Now Landrum's got to score and score fast. 10 seconds off the clock. 1:35 to play, closing in on 90 seconds. Long shot from Molly Ellinger off the mark and rebounded by BMC. Savannah Brown did what she could to get it back, but the clock continues to roll. And this one up for grabs. Got whistles beforehand. I think we got, timeout from BMC. Coach recognized that his players were under some duress and got them out of it. 1:22 to play now. So Landrum's defense does the job. Offense not able to capitalize on the turnover. They need to average about 3 points every 21 seconds to get this to overtime. A 4-possession game, they're going to have to start making some 3-pointers in addition to scoring. And both of those, they've come easier in the second half, but offensively still not a momentous performance so far. BMC's defense has played very well. 82 seconds to go. Earl sends it over to Hutchins. Hutchins on the move, now back to Earl. Ellinger doing everything she can to get that ball, and now heaving it across the court over to, that was Downing, and Downing got fouled. So if she makes these, it could be the nail in the coffin for Landrum. 72 seconds to go. 2 shots coming up for Ansley Downing. She got fouled earlier, made both of them. This one is good as well. 13-point game. $14-point game. Landrum down by 5 possessions, clock ticking, 68 seconds. Hines gets it to Ellinger. Back to Hines for a long 3. off the mark and up for grabs. Still rolling. Hines has it. No whistles, so Landrum's going to get it back. Wanted to go for three. Oh, and almost stolen away there by Amanda Earl. Hines checks it in to Ellinger. Now headed back to Ellinger. And for the long two off the mark, rebounded by Hines. Hines can't sink it. Rebounded by Brown, and Brown has it. Landrum cracks 40, 37 seconds to go. BMC still does not appear to be in clock crunching mode, and that one's stolen away. But they're going to call it BMC ball. Went out of bounds. And BMC, now they're starting to run some clock. I was wondering when this would come back. And yeah, they're going to run this thing out. Unless they get to smelling blood in the water within the next couple of seconds. 10, 9, oh, and still going. Landrum not giving up yet. And Molly Ellinger going to get one last score in for Landrum. So credit to the Cardinals, gave it everything they had all the way to the end there. Final score 53-43. And the difference, again, that first period, Landrum went blow for blow with BMC in that second half, even outscored them in the second half overall, but just could not get enough going to pull off the win. Let me pull up the records real quick. And the Landrum girls are going to fall to 4-10 on the season. BMC's going to move to, looks like 7-5. Yep, 7-5, or 7-4, excuse me, on the year now for the Lady Bearcats. 4-10 on the year for the Lady Cardinals. Don't go anywhere. Only 10 minutes on the clock. I think that's a little light for giving these teams time to warm up, but our second game coming up here in a moment. The boys tip off between BMC and Landrum coming up reasonably soon. Don't go anywhere. Oh, and we're going to recognize the seniors on the Landrum team.
And leadership throughout the years. We also know that a high school student athlete does not become successful without the support of their family and friends, whether it's for riding practice or the voices in the crowd during competition. We know that being a supportive influence is one of the keys to creating a successful student athlete. Let's begin tonight's recognition with our boys basketball seniors. Number 3, Cooper Gentry. Cooper is being escorted by his parents, Mike and Sheila Gentry. He is a member of the football team, the basketball team, the baseball team, the Beta Club, the TLC, FCA, and shoot-up mentoring program. Cooper will be attending Newberry College to play baseball and plans to major in exercise science to become a physical therapist. Number 3, Cooper Gentry. Cooper. Number 5, Austin Harris. Austin is being escorted by his parents, Pat and Kevin Harris. He is a member of the football team and basketball team. Austin plans to attend Spartanburg Community College to major in landscape management. Number 5, Austin Harris. Austin. Number 10, Patrick Clark. Patrick is being escorted by Paula and Jack Clark. He is a member of the football team, basketball team, baseball team, Beta Club, Interact Club, FCA, TLC, and Suit-Up Mentor Program. Patrick plans to go to a 4-year college and major in exercise science Jackson Coben. Coben is being escorted by his parents, Daniel and Kay Jackson. He's a member of the basketball team, baseball team, Beta Club, Interact Club, TLC, and FCA. Coben plans to attend Clemson University to major in accounting. Number 23, Coben Jackson Coben. Number 25, Noah White. Noah's being escorted by his parents, Brian and Melissa White. Noah is a member of the basketball team and is a part of the journalism department and the yearbook staff. Noah plans to attend Oak Ridge University and major in Christian studies to become a youth minister. Number 25, Noah White. Noah. And now to recognize our girls basketball. Number 4, Mulaney Hines. Mulaney being escorted down by her mother, Brandy Hines. She is a member of the volleyball team, the basketball team, and soccer team. Mulaney plans to attend Greenville Tech to pursue a career in nursing. Number 4, Mulaney Hines. Mulaney. Number 23, Molly Ellinger. Molly is being escorted by her parents, John and Carrie Ellinger. Molly is a member of the volleyball team, the basketball team, and soccer team. Molly plans to attend Greenville Tech and pursue a degree in pharmaceutical studies. Number 23, Molly Ellinger. Molly. And now for our cheer singers, Emily Dixon. Emily is being escorted by her sister, Madison Dixon. She is a member of the competitive cheer team. Emily plans to attend Greenville Technical College to study diagnostic ultrasound. Emily Dixon. Emily. December McGrath. December is being escorted by her mother, Sarah McGrath, and her stepdad, Tony Bone. She is a captain of the cheer team this season. And after graduation, December plans to go to school to get an associate's degree in business. December McGrath. December, Sam. Yeah, let's give a good round of applause to all our senior athletes. We've given so much to our high school, our community. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We love you. Most of all, God loves you.
right, so it looks like we're actually going to start this one up a few minutes earlier than the stadium clock says. Not sure when tip-off was originally scheduled. I would imagine it was 7:30, but between all the stoppages in the second half of that last game, between the girls' teams and the senior recognition, this one has been delayed a bit. Looks like we're going to tip off right around 7:44, maybe 7:45 after team introductions. Should be a good matchup here. Brashier Middle College entering today at 4-4, Landrum 9-5. Note that this is the first game between a week-long series between these two teams. Landrum is going to be headed to BMC on Friday. All right, and looks like we are ready for tip-off. Going to be the freshman Franklin Davis going up against Sam Stein for BMC. Stein with the height advantage, and Stein is able to win the tip. So BMC going to start out with the ball. Scott Busquet gets it over to Jake Laird. Back to Busquet. Now this is number 23, Campbell Dotson, going inside. Back to Dotson. And sending it up, Dotson off the mark, rebounded, and that's Florian Perry able to put it in for BMC. And Isaiah Washington going right for the three-pointer. He's usually on fire with those, but that one even a bit out of his range from way downtown on that shot. BMC with a chance to take a quick two-possession lead. Busquet flips it out to Laird, back to Busquet. Now outside to, that's Dotson again. Inside to the center, that's Sam Stein. And Stein able to put BMC up 4-0 over the Cardinals. Remember, Landrum entering this game at 9-5, BMC 4-4, only played 8 games so far. And this is Dotson getting it inside to Stein, looking to get back out. Dotson driving, easy layup for Campbell Dotson. BMC, you can tell just by this crowd response, the Bengals have done an excellent job of coming in here and taking the wind out of Landrum's sails, but that'll help him out. Ethan Dugat, the center for Landrum, able to knock their first points of the game. Oh, and this one taken away. Cooper Gentry going, got it. Stein going inside, and that's taken away by Mason Rains. Can Landrum get 6 unanswered? Gentry thinks so, and he's got it! Tied game. Just like that, both teams going back and forth with 6 straight points. Now Sam Stein looking to even things out, off the mark and rebounded by Ethan Dugat. Isaiah Washington flips it out to Gentry, and Gentry was headed toward the goal. Landrum got a little bit excited there. BMC gets the ball back. Brashier flips it out to Laird. Back to Brashier. Now going inside to Sam Stein. It's broken up, and both guys headed out of bounds. They're going to keep it with the Bengals. Dotson gets it to Brashier, back to Dawson. Now Dotson, back to Brashier again, back to Dotson. Now inside to Stein. And now Brashier for the long 3 off the back of the rim and rebounded. What a jump ball from Franklin Davis. He went vertical to get that one. A receiver for the varsity football team. Those skills come into use there. Oh, and Ethan Dugat from the free throw line. Landrum with 8 straight points. A great response to BMC jumping out to a quick 6-0 lead. And BMC lost their handle on it. Cardinal ball. Isaiah Washington to Gentry. Back to Washington. Inside to Davis. Davis jumps up and a little too far on that one. Oh, and BMC tried to check it in. That should be going back to Landrum. Oh, no, scratch that. Yeah, it hit Dugat first. Got a little mixed up there. So BMC looking to put an end to Landrum's scoring run. Scott Brashier flipping it way down the court to Sebastian Perry, and it's knocked out of bounds. BMC will hang on to it. Sam Stein to check in. And Brashier, they're really just flipping this around. Now Dotson for 3, off the mark and up for grabs. Davis can't come down with this one, still loose, and BMC gonna get a 3rd crack at it. Sam Stein tips it in. Tied game with 4 minutes to play in the first period. Been an exciting one so far. Washington gets it inside to Davis. Davis trying to split some defenders. No foul called and tipped away. BMC ball. And now Perry flips it out to Dotson. Dotson really had time to set up, and it pays off. 5 unanswered for BMC. Washington sends it to Gentry. No look pass inside. Now Dugat has it, and Dugat got fouled. 2 shots coming up for the center, Ethan Dugat. This one off the mark. 3:34 to play in the first period. Marco Gonzalez entering the game in relief of Cooper Gentry. And you can hear the calls for a trap block. Landrum Got it for a second. BMC was able to escape. Now Bosquet for the long two. What a shot. Just like that, BMC. Landrum actually got 9. I don't know when they got that extra point. I had them at 8. I thought I had it right. Guess not. Flipping it around, Mason Raines wanted to go for 3. Now back over to Gonzalez inside to Dugat. Dugat for the long two. It was an odd angle, could not sink it. And now Bosquet, he's had a busy day so far. Sam Stein. And now I was about to say it was weird to see him from behind the line. Now he's getting back under the rim. This is Campbell Dotson. Back to Bosquet. And Sebastian Perry going inside, back to Perry for 3. And Sebastian Perry off the mark, but rebounded by Sam Stein. Nice jump from him. And now this one off the mark as well. Rebounded once more by BMC. They get it a 4th time and finally get it in. That one took a while. And after all that, it is still a 2-possession game. 6-point lead instead of a 4-point lead. Isaiah Washington off the mark and rebounded by Sebastian Perry. It has been an all-or-nothing game from both sides. We have not seen either team really go blow for blow with the other. It's been large streaks of unanswered points on both ends, and Isaiah Washington looking to change the momentum, and 2 shots coming up for Washington. That's BMC's 2nd foul, 1:45 to play in the first period. Washington's first shot is good. Landrum hits double digits.
15 and 23 for Landrum. Marvin Jackson. Lane second shot.
And second one is good for Washington. 4-point game. Oh, and Landrum going for the takeaway. No fouls, and they've got the ball. And now they had Colbin Jackson there for a second, and now they're going to flip it out to Gonzalez. Gonzalez, they're really trying to set up this 3. BMC's defense playing sound. And now they're going to go for the long two with Spencer Harmon, and Harmon can't connect. Rebounded by Dugat, and Dugat puts it in! What a shot! He was barely even looking at the rim when he put that one up. This is Luke Holliday, and now number 4 shooting for the long 3. That's Justin Abrams, and Abrams is off the mark. Going to be Landrum ball. Marco Gonzalez to check this one in. And now we got a few more subs for Landrum. Cooper Gentry in the game for Ethan Dugat. Patrick Clark in for Marco Gonzalez. So Clark going to check this one in, gets it to Washington. 60 seconds to go in the first period. Washington over to Jackson. Now Washington back for 3. Oh, just off the mark. And up for grabs, still going. Can Gentry save it? He does! And Washington has it, gets it outside. Gentry gonna go for 3. And this one off the mark and rebounded by BMC. 40 seconds to go in the first half. Landrum still down by 2. The Cardinals have scored 4 unanswered. BMC looking to change that. Luke Holliday flips it out to Perry. Perry driving, somehow kept it in play, but not for long. Cooper Gentry knocked it out of bounds. And they're called Landrum ball. No. I was about to say, Gentry was the last one to touch that. BMC will hang on to the ball. Isaiah Washington checking out. He's replaced by Mason Raines. And Laird flips it over to Holliday. Holliday looking, still looking. And back to Holliday, over to Laird again for 3. What a shot! Jake Laird. So Landrum's streak comes to an end. Colbin Jackson, 3 seconds left. Raines just going to sling it up. Oh, he almost had it. That was really close from Mason Raines, but just not quite on the money So that will bring an end to the first period. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is going to be a good one. BMC up 18-13. Second period action coming up. Landrum's got the ball to start the second period. Isaiah Washington back in the game. Gentry looking for an opening, and now Dugat driving, and they're going to call him for traveling. And Mason Raines, dang, he did have all day to set up for that practice shot, and BMC wasn't on him. That was from downtown. No points, though, for Landrum. Still a 5-point game. BMC on a little point streak and got whistles. This is going against BMC. It'll be Landrum ball. No Weiss, inactive today for Landrum with a leg injury. Washington gets it over to Raines. Now Raines looking back to Gentry, who tried to set up for three. Instead gets it to Isaiah Washington inside Spencer Harmon, and that shot rolls in. Back to a one-score game. 7:15 to play in the second period. Excuse me. Jack Laird gets it over to Sam Stein. Now Scott Pasquet inside to, that's number 20, Florian Perry. And Perry gets fouled. 2 shots coming up for BMC. Clock is stopped at 7:03. First shot for Perry is off. This to make it a 2-score game. Florian Perry. No, rebounded by Spencer Harmon. He gets it to Raines, and man, Landrum booking it down the court. They got Washington for 3, and he sinks it! Tie game! What a shot from the sophomore, Isaiah Washington. And you can hear that Landrum bench getting fired up. This may not help him, though. Oh, off the mark, but rebounded by BMC. Oh, and a blocked pass. It'll stay with the Bengals, but certainly a defensive momentum builder. Mason Raines really knocking that one out of the air. You could hear it from up here. Basquet flips it over to Dotson. Back to Basquet, over to Laird. Now Sam Stein wants to go for the long 2, and he's got it. It was odd. When I first saw him on the bench, he didn't really look, that much taller than the rest of the Bengals. But when he got out on the court, and you saw just how tall Sam Stein was, I'll have to pull up their roster and get his official height. I mean, he is not even having to jump for these inside shots. And Spencer Harmon does have the jump, but he makes it look cool. Back up to a tied game, all knotted up at 20. Sam Stein's, or Brasier's roster doesn't have any heights listed, unfortunately. And now driving inside was Basquet, off the mark. And now Sam Stein going to send this one in. Does jump, and it rolls out of the rim, but he's got it back. Can't sink this one either. And Landrum able to get it back. Spencer Harmon having a big second period. Flipping it out to Mason Raines for a long 3, and he almost had it. Rebounded by BMC. BMC trying to set up something. And Laird thought about going for it. Now he drives inside, flips it out to Dotson, well covered by Landrum. And now just going to cut his losses, go for the three, up for grabs, and headed out of bounds. We're going to call it no signal yet, and Landrum ball. Substitution. There are subs for both sides. Ethan Dugat exits for Landrum. He's replaced by Marco Gonzalez. I think we had a substitution for BMC as well, but I didn't see who it was. Gonzalez flips it out to Raines. Raines wanted to go for three. Now they're getting it to Washington. Oh, this is going to be a long shot. How did he make that? What a shot from Isaiah Washington. That might be his longest of the season, at least that we've seen. That was something. And it gives Landrum a three-point advantage. Oh, but BMC going to have a chance to cut it down to one. Sam Stein headed to the line. First shot for Stein was no good. Second one on target. 2-point game. Landrum will have a chance to stretch the lead to 2 possessions. Washington, oh, he's really wanting to go for 3 instead. Going all the way across the court to Harmon. Lucky to keep that one in bounds. And, man, yeah, BMC making a conscious effort to make sure Washington stays bottled up. And that leaves Harmon open on the inside. Landrum back up by 2 scores with 3:50 to go in the second period. This game moving very quickly. We have not seen a lot of stoppages. Both teams playing a very clean game so far. This one up for grabs and brought back in by Marco Gonzalez. He really went up to get that one. Mason Raines sends it over to Washington for 3, and Washington just off the mark. Brought back in by BMC. Gonzalez tried to steal it away. Didn't get it anywhere though. Now BMC across half court. As Ben Calvert lost his handle on it for a second, now gets it back. This is Brashier, back to Calvert. Inside to Stein, he's been their safety valve and he's got another one. Back to a 2-point game in favor of Landrum. 3 minutes to play in the second. Mason Raines. And BMC is doing a really good job of closing up these 3-point lanes. You can see the hesitation on those Cardinals when they line up to shoot. They are really wanting to take those shots, but it isn't in their best interest, at least as BMC's playing now, to stay to the inside, especially with a tied game like this. But who knows, you may see BMC go a little bit closer to the inside, trying to make some adjustments. Gentry's all alone for 3. Cooper Gentry sinks it. They got that defense to cheat up a little bit, and BMC paid for it with a long 3. 2:20 and taken away by Landrum. We got a whistle, but it'll still stay with the Cardinals. Marco Gonzalez was fouled there. That'll be BMC's 5th foul of the half. And now a 3-man sub for Landrum. Mason Raines, Marco Gonzalez, and Spencer Harmon all out. Franklin Davis, Ethan Dugat, and Patrick Clark in the game for the Cardinals. And Washington clears out a lane himself, and he's got a 3-pointer. Doing it the hard way. I mean, he boxed out a defender on his own, set his own block, and got the window he needed to shoot that one. Great play from Washington. And this is Luke Holiday off the mark, and Landrum's going to get it back again. 1:50 to play in the second. Landrum going to try to stretch the lead to 3 possessions. Number 10, Jackson Bowers, in the game for BMC, alongside number 12, Sebastian Perry. Or check that. And Dugat goes up, rolls off the rim. Jack Laird getting it over to Ben Calvert. Calvert for three, and he sinks it. 80 seconds to play in the first half. Washington to Gentry. Gentry, Patrick Clark was all alone, but gets it back to Washington. Inside, no-look pass to Gentry. Got it! And Cooper Gentry showing out on senior night. Having a big game on offense. Ben Calvert wanted to go for three. Now they're going to send it inside to Stein, but he wants back out. Calvert just going to throw it up, off the mark, and up for grabs. Loose, and Landrum comes down with it. Dugat gets it over to Washington, 44 seconds. This is going to be Gentry. And he gets it back to Washington. Long shot from Dugat. This one off the mark, rebounded by Franklin Davis, but he lost his handle on it. It's brought back in by the Bengals. 30 seconds in the first half. Jake Laird flipping it back to Calvert. And up for grabs again. Landrum's got it. Franklin Davis gets it to Washington, and Washington's going to chew some clock. It'll probably be below 10 before Landrum even starts to think about shooting. Washington really having to fend off Bowers. And 5 seconds, he's going to have to do it himself. Gets it over to Clark for the buzzer beater, and Clark almost had it. Didn't have enough time to set up, though, and had Sam Stein in his face. So no dramatic shot to close out the half, but certainly a great offensive performance for Landrum to start out this game. Up 34-28 over BMC after being down following the first period. Don't go anywhere. Back in 10 minutes. This is going to be a really fun game. Landrum up by 6, back for the third period in a few moments. So here we go, ready to start half number 2 between BMC and Landrum. It was a barn burner of an opening 2 periods. Both teams going back and forth. Landrum started to build some offensive momentum right at the end. Both teams are shooting extraordinarily well from behind the three-point line. Landrum in particular. Isaiah Washington had a three-point shot. I mean, he all but had 1 foot on the sideline. It was an incredible shot and really epitomized what that whole first half was about. So we'll see if that firepower continues on both sides or if the defenses can step up a little bit. 34-28 in favor of the Cardinals. This is Campbell Dotson getting over to Scott Biscay. Now inside to Sam Stein and outside to number 3. That's Jake Laird. Can't connect, and it's rebounded by Ethan Dugat of Landrum. And Isaiah Washington gets it over to Gentry, gets it inside to Davis, and Franklin Davis spent too long or traveling. Probably could have gotten called for either one there. So right back to BMC, 40 seconds off the clock, no progress made by either side. Jake Laird gets it over to, that's Florian Perry, still looking for a way out. Back to Laird, and back to Perry, gonna send it over to Biscay, and Biscay sidesteps for 3, and he's got it! Scott Biscay, he has had a busy first half as well. Looks to be continuing that momentum. Mason Raines has to get out of trouble. Now going inside, Franklin Davis contested and taken away by BMC. Laird wanted to go for 3, instead goes inside to Stein. Stein looking, goes up, and he's got it. Make it 5 unanswered for BMC to start the game out, or start the half out. Isaiah Washington looking for a response, can't do it, but rebounded by Ethan Dugat. And Dugat, I think they're motioning for this one to go back to Landrum. He was under a lot of duress, and yeah, they got a foul called against Perry. Mason Raines going to check this one in for the Cardinals. 6:24 to play in the third. Franklin Davis flips it to Washington. Washington going to get it inside to Davis. Thought he was going for Raines, and Davis tips it in. Still a 1-possession game. Biscay flips it over to Perry. Perry in some trouble, going all the way for Stein. Stein hangs on, but it falls out of bounds, and it's going to be Landrum ball. Washington looking, taking his time, going to flip it over to Gentry. Gentry gets it to Dugat, and that one's tipped out of bounds. Mason Raines to check this one in. He gets it, right to Davis, and Davis misses the layup. Scott Biscay has it now for the Bengals. He flips it over to Laird. Laird goes inside to Sam Stein. Stein flips it over to number 23. That's Campbell Dotson again. Back to Laird. Inside to Stein. I thought he was just going to go for it himself. And Laird makes a man miss. Stein open, and he sinks it. Back down to a 1-point game. BMC has done a good job of closing that gap. Landrum led by 6 just a few minutes ago, and this one taken away by the Bengals. Campbell Dotson goes up, and BMC has the lead. Landrum got to get back into that groove they had late in the second period. Franklin Davis with a long 2. This one off the mark and brought back in by the Bengals. Scott Biscay flips it out to Perry. Perry makes, he stepped. Washington was just coming in too hot on that block. Ran right by Perry and gave him the opening he needed to give the BMC a 2-possession lead. Ethan Dugat short. Tried to get 3 of them back. Could not connect. Franklin Davis checking out of the game. He's replaced by Spencer Harmon. Harmon had a really big second period. They took him out with about 3 minutes left. I was kind of surprised that they did that given how well he was playing. This is Campbell Dotson. Flipping it outside to Sam Stein. Stein for three. What a shot. Looking like the first period now, where both teams weren't so much going back and forth as they were running up the score on one another for about 2 minutes each before totally switching gears. BMC was down 6 points just 4 minutes ago. Now they're up 7. Scott Busquet flipping it all the way over. Gentry almost took it away. Instead, it's going to be Dotson driving to the inside, and he stepped out of bounds. Or I think they called him for traveling, but same difference, really. Ethan Dugat going to check this one into Isaiah Washington. Washington to Raines. Raines for three. Just off the mark. BMC has really won the rebound game so far in this half. I don't know that it's intentional, but they are slowing things down a little bit too. And that is Dotson. Check that. Oh no! That's going to be BMC ball. It was a miscommunication. Washington and Gentry both went for the pass from Dugat. That was the last thing the Cardinals needed. They sink a three-pointer. BMC can take a 4-possession lead. And they wanted to go for three right there. Landrum closes up that window. They get it over to Stein. Back outside to Laird. Ducks inside. Now gets it over to Perry. And that was knocked up and taken away by Landrum. Down 3 possessions. They need to stay calm and remember that they can't get it all back here. Spencer Harmon flips it out. Washington driving, takes a step back, and now taken away. He was trying to get it over to Colvin Jackson, and 2 points off the turnover for the Bengals. 9-point lead for BMC, and a timeout taken by Landrum. I'll have to do some quick math off the top of my head. Landrum outscored 17-2 in this third period. BMC, playing like their hair's on fire. This has been one heck of a performance from the Bengals so far. 2:43 to play in the third. Back in a moment. I can see Landrum. They've got the whiteboard out. They're drawing something up. Looks like BMC is as well anything to get the momentum going in their direction. For both sides, really. Back in a moment. All right, so we'll see what both teams drew up. Landrum is going to check this one in. Colvin Jackson ready to send it to Isaiah Washington. And they flip it out to Gonzalez quickly. Gonzalez in the game. Looks like he subbed out for Cooper Gentry. And Washington, ill-advised pass, trying too hard. And it's taken right back away. So 2 turnovers canceling out. And, Washington makes it. I thought it got tipped as it left his hand. Isaiah Washington with a long 3, and that's a momentum builder for Landrum. And then Gonzalez knocks it out of bounds, trying to plead his case, but this one is going to stay with the Bengals. And now a 3-man substitution for Landrum. Spencer Harmon out, Colvin Jackson out, and Marco Gonzalez out. Cooper Gentry, Mason Raines, and Franklin Davis in. Laird gets it. Taken away by Isaiah Washington. Now going to take a step back. Waits his option, goes for 3, and he's got it! And just like that, it's back to a 3-point game. Like I said, there's not been a lot of pushing and pulling in this game. For the most part, it has been one team going out on a huge scoring spree, and then the other team going out and responding. And BMC can't cut into Landrum's streak right there. Goes out of bounds, and Landrum's going to get the ball. Luke Holliday re-enters the game for BMC, number 15. We'll see if he can get anything done. Until then, 93 seconds to play in the third. Landrum got a chance to tie this one up. Trying to set up a three-pointer. No windows. Now they go for Gentry. He flips it over to Rains. They really want the tie here. Not content to drive inside just yet. Now they're going to send it to Washington. He goes for Davis. Davis goes up and has that one partially blocked. Taken away by Sam Stein. And great pass from Sam Stein. That is how you lead a man down the court. That was an impressive throw there. Over to Bosquet. Oh, and an even more impressive shot. Make it 47-45. And almost taken away by Mason Rains, flinging it for Washington. Sends it over to Gentry, and almost had the game tied. Instead, Bosquet misses, rebounded by Davis. 30 seconds in the third. Rains driving, still driving, now flips it out, and they've got Davis all alone. Franklin Davis off the mark. Would have given the Cardinals the lead. And now Scott Bosquet has the ball, looking to slow things down. 12 seconds. Laird looking for an opening, going inside to Stein. And Stein's just going to shoot it up. Tipped. 3 seconds. Landrum's got it. Washington just going to sling this. And almost had it. And Landrum wants a foul. They're not going to get it. So I know I'm sounding like a broken record, folks, but do not go anywhere. This one is going to go right down to the wire. Fourth period action coming up. BMC up by 2. Still anyone's game. Back in a moment. All right, and both teams are anxious to get this one started back up. I am as well. Can't wait to see how this one turns out. Been a great game so far. Cooper Gentry looking, fakes inside, now flips it to Rains. Wanted to go for 3, back to Gentry. Now Dugat doesn't set up quickly enough. Landrum really trying to feel this out. Now Rains for 3, and he's got it! Mason Rains gives the Cardinals the lead, 48-47. Now, will these teams start pushing and pulling like we've seen in past games with Landrum and Chapman too, or are they going to go on another scoring spree again? We'll see. Laird wanted 3, and now this is Sam Stein for 3, and it rolls in. BMC right back out in front, first team to hit 50. And Isaiah Washington looking to respond, can't do it. Spencer Harmon had his fingertips on it, but could not bring it in. Jake Laird looking, flipping it out to number 4, that's Justin Abrams. And now going inside with Stein, back to Abrams. Inside with Perry. Perry off the mark and brought in by Washington. 6:50 to play in the fourth. Washington flips it to Dugat, to Rains for 3. Mason Rains has this as well! And Stein flips it outside to Perry. Back to Abrams, now over to Laird. Landrum closing up the lanes. And Abrams inside. Stein just gonna have to do it himself and somehow beats Dugat. They were draped all over each other. I think we got a timeout called. Looks like Landrum took it. Or no, BMC took it. But As it stands, 1 point game, BMC in the lead, but both teams starting to go back and forth here. And just waiting for the ready to play now. Both teams had the whiteboards out and were scheming during that timeout. Landrum's going to start out with it. 6:18 to play in the fourth period. Isaiah Washington heading down the court. And Gentry loops around, wanted to get it to Gentry. Instead, they go to Raines. He has been on fire. 2 straight long three-point shots from him. And I think they're trying to work Raines open. Instead, it's going to be Washington, and Washington sinks it! The three-point accuracy has been uncanny for Landrum in this period. Holiday flips it over to Perry, wanting to go inside the Stein. Perry's going to do it himself. Up and rebounded by Spencer Harmon. He gets it to Washington, and now Isaiah Washington going to flip it over to Gentry. Gentry looking to get rid of this now, finds Raines, and that window closes quickly. Raines gets it to Washington. He thought, you could see him setting his feet. He thought about going for it. Instead, gets it to Gentry. Landrum moving backwards. And now over to Washington. Spencer Harmon has that one tipped. But BMC's headed out of bounds. Are they going to call out a foul? And they're going to say that Dugat pushed off, so it'll be BMC ball. 5:13 to play in the fourth. Landrum back on top by 2, following the three-point shot from Isaiah Washington. Flipping it outside. This is Campbell Dotson. First we've seen him in a while. Back to Dotson. Driving, goes up. Underhand shot, no good. Rebounded by Ethan Dugat. Franklin Davis now driving, going up, and that's going to be a foul. Franklin Davis headed to the line. If he can make both of these, Landrum will be out in front by 2 possessions. That's only the 3rd foul between both teams in this half. First shot for Washington is good. It's a 3-point game. Franklin Davis alongside Marco Gonzalez, both of them in the game now. Cooper Gentry and Ethan Dugat out. Second shot from Washington is good. It's a 2-score game. BMC down by 4 with 4:55 left to go. Going inside, Sam Stein flipping it back out to Scott Bosquet. And Bosquet driving, sends it up off the mark and rebounded by Gonzalez. He gets it to Washington. And Washington booking it down the court. Raines all alone for 3. Oh, it rolls out of the rim, but rebounded by Davis. And Franklin Davis sinks it. 6-point game. Jake Laird looking for an opening. Going inside. Oh, and that's taken right away. Loose. Spencer Harmon had it, and it's brought in by Isaiah Washington. Washington flips it to Raines. Raines back to Washington, in some trouble, driving, and gets it over to Gonzalez. Now flinging it over back to Raines, trying to get that 3-point open, and got a foul called, no, a timeout called by the Cardinals. Franklin Davis was in a bit of a rough situation over there in the corner, had to get him out of it. So 3:54 to play in the final period. Landrum up by 6. Don't go anywhere. This one's going to come down right to the wire. I can feel it. Been a great game so far. And both teams making quick work of that timeout. They did not waste any time. That was solely to get Davis out of that block, nothing else. Both sides really chomping at the bit. Raines checks it right into Davis, flips it to Washington. Washington back to Raines, back to Washington, and this BMC playing a lot tighter than they have so far. Washington going to try to split the difference, and he's got it! Isaiah Washington. It's a 3-score lead for Landrum. Scott Bosquet flips it out to Laird. Laird inside to Stein, has that one batted up. It's still loose and rebounded by Cooper Gentry. Gentry flips it to Washington. Washington gets fouled. 3:23 to play. That one's going right back to Landrum. Cooper Gentry going to check it in, but going to have to be accurate here. Or it looks like, yeah, he's just going to flip it over to Harmon. Scott Bosquet in particular really going for the steal now. BMC not quite in dire straits yet. I understand wanting to slow down Landrum's offense, but the shift to such a tight defensive scheme so quickly is a bit jarring to see. I personally would have felt like they still had time to keep working as usual, because it's allowing Landrum to burn some clock, albeit unintentionally, I imagine. They're just trying to get an opening, and Washington gets fouled. This one called against Scott Bosquet. He has been mirroring Washington so far. It's going to be BMC's 4th foul, and we're on a timeout called by Brashier. Landrum up 60-52, back in 30 seconds. Cooper Gentry to check this one in for the Cardinals. 2:48 to play. Spencer Harmon flips it to Washington. And Washington in no hurry, now picking up the pace. And they're setting up Raines. Oh, he wanted to go for 3. It was just a little bit too far away. Ball's loose, and Gentry, what a save! And Spencer Harmon all alone. And now, I'm not sure if Landrum's in clock burning mode or not, but they've had a couple of shots and they've opted to pass it around instead. Now Harmon goes up and gets fouled. So Harmon headed to the line. That's going to be BMC's 5th foul of the half, but more importantly, 28 seconds come off the clock. BMC perhaps using up those fouls too early. First shot for Harmon is good. Still a 3-possession game. If he makes this, Landrum goes up by 10 to make it a 4-score game. Spencer Harmon's second shot is good. Bounced around for a little bit and then rolled in. Think we got a timeout taken. Nah, just a substitution on Landrum's end. Mason Raines exits. He's replaced by Dugat. And that one taken away by Landrum. BMC, they've gone to Stein one too many times, I suppose. They've done that a lot. When in doubt, they've just gone inside, and he's been able to box his defenders out, but Landrum's starting to catch on to the idea. And now, I'm told this is called the 4 corners strategy, and Gentry gets fouled. BMC, and they're just kind of having to do what they've got to do now. And Mason Raines subbing back in for Dugat. Not really sure why Raines left if they were going to put him back in so fast. And Landrum thought it was a shooting foul. It's not. That's what coach is yelling about. There's nobody to send that one in. Isaiah Washington heads over there. And he's going to go right inside. Harmon goes straight for it, and Harmon gets fouled again. And yet another shooting foul. I think that makes BMC 7th, yes. Two shots coming up for Spencer Harmon. He made his first 2. It's going to be a 4-score game regardless of what happens here. Up by 11 now. And yeah, now they're bringing Raines out again. Dugat back in. Last time they did that, Dugat was on the court for all of 12 seconds or so. And second shot from Harmon is good. 12-point game. So whistles, timeout called by Brashier. 1:51 to play. BMC in full-on desperation mode now. Landrum in the bonus. Brazier's going to get it at half court out of that timeout. We'll see what they drew up. Down by 12. Got to get some three-pointers going. Their offensive momentum has been stifled within the past 4 minutes. And they're going to go right inside. Calvert for 3, and that one might have been tipped. Falls right into the hands of Franklin Davis, and Washington gets fouled, so he'll be headed to the line. Enough moved on BMC's end considering how well Washington's been shooting from behind the three-point line, but if he makes this, it'll move to a 5-possession game. Cardinals go up by 13. First shot is good, 65-52. Isaiah Washington, 4 for 4 from the line. BMC down by 14. They've led by as much as 9 in this game. They have one last comeback in them. It's going to be a Herculean effort, and it won't start here. That shot from Scott Bosquet, rebounded by Harmon, and then they are picking the wrong guy to foul. That's Isaiah Washington getting fouled again. It's going to be the 9th foul of the game for BMC. And Washington, I understand they got to foul somebody quickly, but they might want to wait for Landrum to get someone else the ball, or never mind, it goes off the rim. So no harm, no foul there for BMC. Calvert, all but picked off there by Spencer Harmon. Washington, we're back to 4 corners it looks like now. Less than a minute to play. And Landrum, looks like they're trying to set it up. Mason Raines a little out of position. And now flinging it back over to Washington. I don't know, it looks like for a second he was thinking about 3 again. That's long even for him. And yeah, Landrum just really burning this clock now. 40 seconds to play. Harmon, he's all alone! Spencer Harmon puts the Cardinals up by 16. Landrum pouring it on. And not sure what happened there. Dotson put it right in the lap of Ethan Dugat, and that could be the end of it. Everybody already clapping, nobody making much of an effort to move. 12 seconds on the clock, and it looks like the Cardinals are going to win it on senior night. Their final score is going to be 68-52. after an astounding fourth quarter performance from Landrum. And that'll do it. Landrum moves to 10-5 on the year with playoff aspirations well within sight, I'd say. Now, keep in mind, even though this was senior night, this is far from the last home game Landrum has scheduled. Their home schedule for both JV and varsity runs all the way through early February, I believe. So don't worry, we've still got plenty more Landrum basketball slated for later this month. But until then, make note, we are halfway through our loaded streaming schedule for this week. We're taking tomorrow off, no events set to be streamed on Wednesday the 13th, but make note, Thursday the 14th, wrestling in the cage against Chesney here at Landrum, senior night for the wrestling team on the Landrum High School Athletics channel. That one's going to start up at 5 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. if I'm not mistaken. It's either 5 or 5:30. Can't ever get it straight, but it's not 6, so make sure you're there. And then on Friday, the 15th, the big one, Chapman taking on Clinton in a division rivalry. Varsity matchup between those two teams, Friday the 15th at 6 p.m. Make sure you turn on notifications, subscribe to the Landrum High School Athletics channel and the Chapman High School Athletics channel. And once you get notifications turned on, you will be alerted on your personal device every time we set up a stream and every time we go live on one of those streams. Until then, signing off, I'm Luke Ruff for Spartanburg School District 1. I would like to thank Dr. Ron Garner, the superintendent at Spartanburg School District 1, Jason McCraw at the Spartanburg District 1 district office, and Mike Gentry, the athletic director here at Landrum High School, for helping make all this possible. Your final score from the cage, 68-52. Landrum wins it. We'll see you on Thursday.